Hello everybody, Wheels247 here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at a video regarding Farm Sim 25. I don't know about you, but the recent blog posts, trailers, and early gameplay reveal a lot of features and mechanics that really make me excited for the new version of Farming Simulator. As a player and content creator for the game since 2015, I've seen a ton of progress. This brings us to the culmination and release of Farm Sim 2025. So this video is not a comprehensive detailed feature description, but it's basically my observations, opinion, based on bits of information that I've gathered over the last few months. First thing I want to talk about is GPS steering, which will be a welcome feature to the base game, allowing us to customize headlands and rows, enabling us to go up and down the fields in a straight line, and allow us to have a more immersive experience, such as real farm equipment does in their working of fields in real life. So there's multiple forms of field work, such as harvesting, running of windrowers and balers, which will be able to use the same programmable setup that you use for all the different implements. And it will be interesting to see how that all kind of comes together, whether you can use multiple hired workers on fields, or a hired worker and yourself to actually do the fields at the same time. This does work on fields that are not simple squares. From what I understand, the lines are dynamically created when you enter the field, but there is a way to customize these things by pulling up a user interface that allows you to get in there and set all the different features that you want. GPS is tied to the hired AI worker as far as routes as well. The AI does turn in the field in Farm Sim 25. This allows the field boundaries to be closer to the edges of the tree line, fence, or rocks, adding more realistic feel to the map, and even closer to ditches. Expect that larger equipment may have limitations, though, in its reverse positioning and turning, such as the air seeders on a US-based map and so forth. What tools may be available for modders regarding these things is unknown to me at this time regarding vehicles and the creation of fields on modded maps. AI improvements include NPCs that will have interactions with the players, possibly enhancing the tutorial system for new players and likely with contracts at some level. It seems like the NPCs have stories to tell and advice to give. These AI include Grandpa and a neighbor character, which have interaction with the players and allow us to have a more immersive system in order to make the maps feel more alive. Dynamic terrain is being introduced in Farm Sim 25. Expect a lot of improvements in this over the next few renditions of the game, but displacement mapping or terrain deformation for fields being adjusted for tires and the weights of vehicles. These will cause effects to be seen on the fields and the effects to be felt as you drive the fields and as you drive back over the furrows that you create by doing the field work. It's unknown how long these actual indentments in the field last and whether or not anything occurs outside of regular created fields. It's also been reported that vehicles will go slower through the fields as a result of this terrain being affected by the tires as you're driving through them. Driving through water, such as on the rice fields, will cause the water to react to the tractor tires, along with vast reflection improvements to the water and to the actual surfaces of the vehicles as well along those lines. Graphical features include one of the more interesting features called volumetric fog, which dissipates as time has progressed, dynamic weather that includes twisters that can cause noticeable damage on fields and possible trees. It has been stated that they will not damage buildings. One pic seems to indicate that hail and falling snow looks like it has been updated, and that whether the hail causes damage is also a question that many people have had. But it does appear that the snow falling from the sky has been updated to look more realistic as far as the snow swirling as it's dropping to the ground. Other graphical improvements include 360-degree view billboards, shadows, improved sky, including stars and moon enhancement, sun rays, and crop rendering. The trees will now look better from various angles as a smoother transition as views change of the trees while you're passing them. This should provide a more realistic model and more randomized placement of trees on the maps. Speaking of maps, there are 3 maps presented in Farm Sim 25, an Asian map, a very nice looking map that I'm looking forward to getting on and doing a playthrough on this, a European map presented to us in Farm Sim 22 DLC. The US map is called the Riverbend Springs map. It's named after a river that runs through its landscape, which features jetties, houseboats, riverboats, barges, and even a working ferry. Giants has stated that the river is now part of the game and not simply a decoration. The map now includes new trees, bushes, grass, ground textures, flowers, and reworked graphical details for plants. Spinach is a new crop with a harvester similar, what I think, to a potato harvester that allows you to harvest the spinach in a very unique way. I believe you can do 2 harvests of spinach if you plant it early enough. I think 1 in June and 1 in August, from what I remember hearing. Peas are another plant that Giants is introducing in Farm Sim 25. Planted early in the spring, bring forth a great return on investment and the cost to plant. The Oxbow 540E is a special harvester for these plants. Giants has really raised the bar here on the graphical quality of the pea plants. The Animal Trader is much larger now, and it does showcase the actual animals that populate it. You'll be able to see the moving animals, both the adults and the adolescents and the baby animals. And this allowed them to include many more new fence placeables that'll give us many more options that we've had in the past to customize our farms with fencing. There is a farmer's market that's been introduced here with interactive shelves and small selling stands with passive income, small production points, new productions, and buildable buildings and community projects like monuments, a community playground, a temple ground, and also a museum. Also, there will be collectibles that will be able to be displayed at the temple in the Hutan Pante map in Japan. What do collectibles give? Well, there are icons such as wheat icons that can be found called crop orbs. There may be a possibility with interaction with NPCs regarding the building of different placeables, such as building your own house or buildings on your actual farm, or these other building community projects. It appears there's also going to be buildable items such as buggies and playground building pieces, such as the wooden green tractor that you see in the trailer. Also, they've said that there should be more usable buildings that have been opened up and allow you to open and use them, as opposed to in Farm Sim 22, many of the buildings were not usable that are placeables. Maybe not all of them, but at least many. There's been an improvement according to what's been stated. There's 2 types of rice in the maps now. There's an Asian short grain, which is just called rice, which grows in bogs. There'll be an Izeki 8-row transplanter, which plants pallets of rice seedlings that are grown after starting their growth in a greenhouse. There'll be a filling animation for the planter and the pallets. This allows the creation of your own custom fields and a pump that interacts with the field in order to fill it with water. The fields are set deeper with a dike in order to keep the water within the fields that have been created. So the introduction of the 8-row planter and the short grain rice, along with carrots, having been introduced at the end of Farm Sim 22, has been implemented in some other crops so that they will also be planted in rows, such as the carrots and the rice that you see in the trailer is planted in rows. So the harvester for the Asian rice is a special harvester. Reminds me of a forage header combined with a cotton harvester. Now, maybe you don't get that, but that's what I see. Long grain rice is also being able to be planted at a lower cost than the short grain rice. Along the lines of the long grain rice, I wanted to mention the New Holland CR11 with a 20K crop capacity, a header with built-in header trailer, cutter that adapts to the ground, and the header moves the cutter, raises and lowers separate from the actual combine itself. I believe this is available in the collection edition or the season pass. There have been changes in the HUD regarding color transparency, giving more view to gameplay, which is still scalable. They have talked about giving us the ability to move HUD elements around, such as over to another monitor or something like that. I'm still unsure whether that will be a feature. That was something mentioned early on. And the McDonald Swather, available with pre-order, has a rotating seat for field mode and a 12-meter header, and it's also threshed with a special header that will be included for combines on the maps as well within the vehicle shop. Peas are an early crop with specialized harvester as well. We also have baby animals, goats, and water buffalo with dairy productions, and also, for example, mozzarella cheese for the water buffalo. And they mentioned grazing when they mentioned the water buffalo, which I'm sure both will be able to graze. Along the lines of grazing, there are custom areas called dynamic pastures that have been introduced for FarmSim 25, where it allows for visible grazing of the animals in different areas, allowing you to rotate them to different areas to actually feed on the grass that's growing in the terrain and be able to bring them back to the stable in the wintertime. Looking forward to how we're going to be able to do that and the freedom that we're going to have with animals and how the actual animal meshes work when you actually place those fences and maybe buildings down the animals go with. Whether you can place buildings with them or not is unsure. Another thing that's been introduced is the addition of hand tools, like the ability to carry a chainsaw on a log trailer or be able to set the chainsaw down, place in the shed, such as on a table. Spray cans and a brush also has been presented with that, as well as possibly being able to pick up and put those things down without putting them back into your inventory. That'll be very fun. Consumable pallets for balers such as twine, net, and branded wraps that apparently can be turned off if you don't want that feature, but if you do want it, you buy them in pallets, refill your balers, and allow you to have a more immersive experience. So anyway, it's not been a comprehensive video. These are just some things that I've seen. Please let me know in the comments if I've missed any information. Either I'm unaware of it or if I'm inaccurate in my info. I certainly don't mind being corrected. Just do that in a positive, motivating way. That's all I ask. So thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video with a friend. Until next time, I'm Wheels 24/7. Y'all take care, and we'll see you soon in the next video.